Hello there, good afternoon, and welcome to another Kerfuffle showcase. And I am delighted today to have Jonathan with me. Hello there, Jonathan. How are you from Vaboo?
Hi, Simon. I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing on this sunny day?
Well, yeah, it's all right, isn't it? It's not doing bad. You're obviously down south, living it up, and just putting us northerners in our place as we used to. But that's
Yeah.
okay. I've been told you told me not to allow everyone to pay too much attention to the football memorabilia behind you. So prizes for anybody that can spot which team Jonathan supports. He did make that clear before. Uh, okay, Jonathan, Vaboo, the title today, Vaboo, make renting more rewarding for tenants and agents alike. That's a seductive title there, considering the challenges in that particular sector. Could you give us an overview just to get us started with what obviously Vaboo is about, and indeed why you felt the need to create it?
Absolutely. So what it's about is we create and manage tenant and customer rewards programs for letting agencies, large market accommodation providers, and other types of property-related partners. And it's all about improving the renting experience and adding value to the customer, both in the eyes of tenants, but also in the eyes of landlords. Our clients that use our service really want to point a difference against their competition. They want to show their customers that they care. They want to build trust, and they understand the value of developing those long-term relationships, and I guess are less focused on purely the transaction today. Why did the business begin? Short story is I've got a number of rental properties of my own. Back in 2013, I had some tenants who were struggling financially.
Yeah.
So obviously that lack of rent was hitting my back pocket. I previously was working as business development director for, it was actually an insurance business, but our route to market was through actually employee benefit programs that we would put together for typically quite large organizations because they were expensive to roll out. And one element of that was retail discounts, and they were exclusive discounts offered to the staff of these large organizations. But really, you're talking about 4% of UK employees being given access to this stuff because of the cost. And I kind of at the time was like, well, if I could somehow give my tenants access to this stuff, maybe it'll help them save a bit of money and get that rent in my back pocket. And that's what it was about at the beginning. And I did that in a very, very small way compared to what Vaboo is today, but because of some of the relationships that I had. And this was 2013. At the time, I attended very regular networking events in the property space, predominantly attended by other portfolio landlords, investors, developers, and often you'd get agents there as well. And I was just kind of telling people what I was doing for my tenants, how it had benefited me, how it had strengthened the relationship between myself and my tenants. And actually, so one key point I guess I've missed out here is the reason I did it was because the agents who were managing all of my properties weren't.
Yeah.
They were not helping to sort the arrears issues out. They had no understanding of who my tenants were. And I was really surprised by that. So I reached out to the tenants to try and help myself. And it worked really, really well. And not only did we sort the arrears issues out, I developed a better understanding of who my customers were. And the offshoot benefits of that over the longer term was they stayed longer. They paid their rent on time. They looked after my properties better. I closely monitored my maintenance spend, and that reduced sharply over the period, and actually added quite a lot to my net income. And as I say, I was just telling this to people at the events I was attending, many of which I was actually speaking at as well.
Yeah.
And more people started asking me if I could help them do the same with their tenants. And at the time I couldn't, because it was just me and my tenants doing one or two things. But eventually it got to the point where so many people started asking me. I reached out to a number of people and partners that I worked with in my previous business. I left the insurance company to go into property development full time originally.
Yeah.
Long story short, end of September 2015, we soft launched the business at the Landlord and Letting Show at the Barbican in London.
Yeah.
The model back then was considerably different to what it is today. We were selling a licensed-based product to private landlords predominantly, who were looking to add value to in particular HMO properties, and fill that last room. But then eventually letting agents started showing interest. We also started working with some councils and housing associations, as well as the build to rent space.
Yeah.
But the first few years of the business plan, whilst we had a product on day one to sell, we're all about sort of testing the market. We weren't particularly revenue focused. It was just talking to people.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Just understanding the landscape, essentially, understanding what was needed.
Absolutely. So I myself, in the first couple of years, was still doing a lot of property development stuff. But at the end of 2017, the plan was to look at the business, the feedback, the model, and see what we had and see if it was viable. And we had plenty of positives there. We actually spent most of 2018 developing the platform further, and really only started selling to the market at the beginning of 2019. So on a day-to-day basis, we are speaking to all shapes and sizes of letting agents, estate agents, accommodation providers, etc.
I was going to ask you, so obviously you're predominantly leading, especially where it started from, with lettings agents. Do you have sales agents using it? Is that an area you're keen to expand into? There's no reason, of course, why that it shouldn't work in that part of the marketplace as well, is there?
At the end of the day, whatever type of customer an agent wants to engage with, we can now adapt things. It's still predominantly lettings focused, because actually the big picture about what we do is about what we believe the opportunities are for everybody within the industry. So one of the other reasons I launched the business as well is because I spent a large part of my career at very customer centric businesses. Most of the time was actually American Express.
Yeah.
And when I started working for myself in 2013, I realized that I had a customer base, right? And I'd never seen them as a customer base prior, because I had not been full time on it. But I suddenly realized I had 50, 60 tenants across my properties. And these were my customers, and I didn't know much about them.
Yeah.
Right? I wanted to get to know them more. And then as I did that, we'd started to discover actually there's a huge opportunity here for the industry. So, we know that by getting to understand that pool of customers better, opportunities are going to open up. I mean, for me personally, it's unbelievably exciting. What industry do you know where all businesses have two pools of customers? You got your landlords here and you've got your tenants there. And this pool here, in most cases, is 4 times bigger.
Yeah.
Right. That is huge opportunity.
Yeah.
Most agents know what they're doing on the landlord side.
Yeah.
But it's a quarter of their customer base.
Yeah.
So what opportunities can we help our clients uncover going forward? And thinking back to when we launched, actually, literally a week or a month before, the then CEO of Granger PLC, largest listed landlord in the country, came out and said in a talk that the PRS needs to learn from the hospitality sector, think like a retailer,
I've heard that.
Treat the tenant customer as king. And it's no coincidence that all these big retailers have these reward and loyalty programs.
I mean, I have to state a bit of bias here, because I am a huge fan of these. The whole corporate rewards ethos. You mentioned American Express there, and it's been fairly traditional and standard for corporate business to live off net promoter scores and satisfaction rankings. And there's every single scientific study that shows actually high net promoter scores do align with actually profits and growth, isn't there? One of the first questions I was going to ask with you is, are you able to draw such a linear gauge yet where satisfaction levels from this do lead through to some of those benefits you were talking about earlier?
Well, part of our service is actually we do monitor net promoter score for our clients.
Okay, brilliant.
So that's kind of automatically done. We actually did a survey. I think it was 2018. We did surveys with existing users, and at the time we only had a few thousand people on the platform. But we also did a general survey through social media about we're talking to tenants about the renting experience and how they felt about the service provided by their agents. And the net promoter score was really poor in general, particularly poor in London, like outrageously poor in London.
Okay.
We asked the same questions for our users. And our agents got extremely good 20 plus on the scale net promoter scores. Yeah. And what's interesting for us about that is when we launched the business, we actually originally thought we might get agents who were kind of maybe struggling a little bit. Maybe their reputation wasn't so great, trying to use our service to turn that round. But actually the complete opposite has happened, and it's really pleasing for us. We're getting great agents who get it and they just want to do better.
You're getting the cream of the crop, aren't you? Actually, you don't have to convert, preach the converted there. They just want to take themselves ever further away from the crowd, don't they?
Absolutely. So, and that's why our agents get high net promoter scores. It's part of our service. I'm not going to sit here and say it's because of our service. That's too arrogant, right? I think our service helps, obviously. But we're monitoring for that. We're monitoring that for them on an ongoing basis. And clients are actively telling us that when they talk about the fact that they have a customer rewards program, show their compassionate approach to lettings when they are doing viewings with prospective landlords and tenants, they tell us how it really helps them get things over the line. In particular, the ones that use, we produce branded flyers for them to hand out during viewings.
Okay.
So the agents that actively use those, are telling us that it's really helping their conversion more and more. And there's lots of tools out there which help agents generate new leads. Yeah. We help agents convert those leads.
Great. So one of the big downfalls I've seen of companies that have wanted to get into this, but have maybe erred at first with the first, if you like, attempt at corporate rewards and everything else, is that the rewards become unattainable. They're unachievable in the short term. Give a flavour for what your tenants kind of have to do to be able to get something tangible.
That's a very good point, actually. And those sorts of programs you mentioned, whilst they obviously will work for some businesses, if you have to jump through hoops, eventually people get a bit fed up with it.
Yeah.
So ours is kind of more,
It just peters out, doesn't it? You get that initial surge of interest and all, and then they actually start figuring out it's going to take me till 2023 to get something, which of course is going to let them down.
Exactly. So ours is, I guess, more like a private members club in that respect.
Okay.
Because you are a customer of said agent, you automatically get full access to the platform. And on the platform, we've got offers from 600-700 plus different retailers covering every category of spend, every demographic of person from 18 to 80, probably 65. The discounts are there for people to use as and when they want to use them, whether it's 7% off at Marks and Spencer's or half price cinema tickets or whatever it might be. In the 5 years that we've actually had most of the offers of discounts in place since the beginning.
Okay.
And in the 5 years, not much has changed. They don't tend to disappear. If anything, you just get new ones added.
And you are dealing with some genuinely blue chip companies. I mean, we'll come on to them a little bit later. We've got a slide from one of your clients. I think a landing page you actually give to them to show the scale and scope of the companies you deal with. If I was trying to turn my cynical hat on, are these deals that are genuinely kind of unachievable elsewhere, or are there deals that if you look, you know where to look in the right place, you can get to them?
Yeah.
How kind of exclusive are they?
So the agreement with everybody on the platform is that these deals should not be available to the general public.
That's great. So that is
okay. And if we hear that they are, then the retailer will get contacted. And actually, in most cases, the discount to our users is increased at that time.
Okay.
Now, there could be the odd occasion where somebody does a really short-term promotion that matches ours, for maybe a week, possibly a month, right? But our stuff is there 12 months of the year, 24/7. And then when there's things like you can make comparisons also to like free to use cashback websites. Right, and some of the stuff on our platform is cashback related, but again, if you make that comparison, you're looking at double the amount of cashback through us, and you get the money considerably quicker than if you go on a free to use platform. But we could spend hours going through all the discounts, the details, the percentages, and all of that. But actually, what our service is about for agents is having that point of difference and customer care piece there, because that's what wins the business at the beginning. Okay,
it's what showing the intent that you are looking to look after them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it works very well. The content is engaging, the platform's engaging. A lot of clients, if not all clients, when we first speak to them, have recognized the need to communicate more and engage better with all of their customers, but in particular tenants. However, most of them don't know what to say, because let's face it, if you send tenants emails about the rental market, 99.9% are just not interested.
No.
They're not property investors. Okay. So what is it you're going to talk about? Yeah. And then there's the time element of it, of doing all of that work, right? All of our users, on behalf of our clients, get weekly comms, which say to the individual user, hey, we haven't forgotten about you just because you've moved in now. We're trying to help as much as we possibly can. Don't forget, you've got access to our rewards program, which gives you this, this, and this. And don't forget, there's prize draws every month. Don't forget to enter those, etc., etc. We know that works because the open rates and click-through rates of those weekly email comms is through the roof. 50% open rates, 8% click-through rates. Now, find me another business that gets that level of engagement.
Well, I'll put that into context. Most people will be happy with newsletters getting above 15, 20%, won't they, really?
Yeah, I did some research on that in terms of just businesses in general. Companies that do regular B2C comms target 20% open rate, and 2% click through.
Yeah,
that's what they target. Most don't even achieve that.
And sorry, Jonathan, that's actually sustained as well. So it's not like it's like when I did my first newsletter, it was like 70% open rates, but they quite quickly tailed off. You're seeing these on a consistent basis, are you?
Absolutely. And I'll be honest with you, Simon, at the end of 2018, when we'd done all the development work and, we had a handful of clients, couple of thousand users, we had those rates. As we progressed to over 100,000 users, clearly I expected those rates to drop off.
Yeah, yes, would do, yeah.
And they haven't at all.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's, what's fascinating about that, as much as anything, though, just again, it's not just the sole reason for coming to you, but just from a relevance and brand point of view, how strong can that be? That this is clearly something they want to be actually opening. Which, let's face it, the vast majority of the stuff that hits your inbox these days is not in that category, is it?
Yeah, because it's talking to the individual and it's saying this is what's in it for you.
Yeah,
and the brand engagement is happening subconsciously. But when if you go and if we were able to freely travel and you went off and booked your holiday, for 6 months' time, when you go and do that trip, you are going to remember that it's because of your agent that you've made that saving.
Yeah.
You may not remember it over the whole 6-month period, but you will when you travel.
This is the point that I think, when I said to you before, I understand a little bit about human behavior. And let's face it, if you get 50 quid, 100 quid, 200 quid, and you get it as commission, it gets absorbed into your pay packet, pays taxes, just gets absorbed into nothing. If, on the other hand, you get a red letter day or the holiday you're talking about there, or a bit of technology that you've been waiting for, and every time you pick up, that tablet, and you think, I've got that because of XYZ estate agents, that is something that is demonstrably of value, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's about linking everything back to, this is about the agent. One aspect of the platform is agents can promote other products, services, businesses on the platform. So a lot of our clients, who have offices on high streets, etc., in particular, they want to become the hub of their community, and that sort of desire and activity is certainly picked up post-COVID. And so we have the perfect platform for any agent to have a chat with the local hair salon, whatever it might be, and say, look, I've got all these customers. I'd love to promote your business. Give them a small discount, and we'll put you on the platform, no cost.
So I get that, because I think that is absolutely vital. It's great. And as I said, we'll show you later all of these absolutely blue chip companies, but you can have the best of both worlds, is what you're telling me there. So you can actually talk about what everyone is hungry for, these blue chips, but also become, what does Christopher Watkins talks about, it being your digital mayor, owning your local patch as well, isn't it? There, if you reach out to those local businesses, you're not just saying we promote local business, you're demonstrably doing that with your client base. That's really special, actually.
Yeah, and it's I think it's very, very powerful. We've got a big product development roadmap, which I don't know exactly when, hopefully some point next year, where if somebody goes to a local business, purchases, spends whatever amount of money, when they pay with their debit card, we're looking at within seconds they get a notification on their phone which says, thanks to Joe Blogg's estate agents, you've just saved £10, and that will happen every transaction. That's
really good. So could that be any sort of business? So, for example, could it be, it could be a local restaurant as well, for example?
What I just described is when you're paying with a card. Absolutely. Yeah. It's not in place today, but that's kind of the sort of stuff that we've got on the roadmap. There's lots more for that. My CTO is probably watching this saying, John, shut up.
I've always been the bane of that. Look, we've actually got one of your reviews just echoing what you've had to say about things as well, from James Scollard at Clifton's, one of your clients, who's kind enough to give a review. This gives a USP to show we care about our tenants, and a happy tenant is a happy agent landlord. A tenant of mine received 1 month free rent for her opinion on our services, and I received good publicity, marketing material and feedback. There's also scope to make this service an additional income stream to the agency. Well, that's just echoing what you've got to say. And indeed, I think we've got another client of yours. Hi, Gareth, as well. I think he's recently just signed up with you guys, hasn't he?
Yeah. Hi, Gareth. How you doing?
Hello there. Good to see you. To see you on board. So we've spoken a little bit about tenants there. Is there any other ways, though, that Vaboo actually helps to reward agents themselves then, Jonathan?
So I guess the reward is about helping them grow their business. We talked about the number one task to focus on in order to seriously grow your business. Customer engagement is hard work and extremely time consuming, and most agents don't have that time, and in many cases they may not even have the expertise. So to outsource that, if you like, to a platform like ours, where it's done for you, 90% of which is automated, You know, we're doing reports and deep dive data analysis in the back end. You know, we're adding value to agents by the fact that we're giving them a point of difference. We're helping them build trust in front of existing and potential customers.
Yeah.
And you know, we're showing their customers that they care. That's the added value. We're not, you know, I'll be very open. We're not a service about earning a commission or a kickback from XYZ product. Yeah. We do help agents if they have those products and services that do generate additional commission, sell those products by placing them on the platform, because many of the products, you know, things like rent guarantee insurance or that sort of stuff, that has to happen pre-moving, right? So we don't necessarily help with that. But any other products and services that can be offered to a tenant, are typically offered to a tenant at the point of moving, if the tenant doesn't take them up at that point, if they're on our platform as well, then they might buy it 6 months later.
Yeah.
You know, and so the agent will still benefit from that.
Well, we spoke about this previously, didn't we? In terms of, you know, obviously it's great that there are products out there that offer a revenue stream, but there's also that problem with agents that get all consumed by it. Not every single supplier and partner has to fit into that category. And I would argue this is just one of those obvious ones where customer satisfaction can't be monetized, can't be blended, and you're focusing on the wrong KPI. You can't have too many KPIs, and the customer satisfaction, if you solve that issue, drives all the other ones in terms of referrals and satisfaction as it is anyway, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And as I say, our clients are actively using our service to convert those inquiries from prospective landlords first and foremost. The primary beneficiary of our service is the tenant, absolutely, but landlords see it all as well. So they, you know, as you know, I started this because I was a landlord myself, and I was unhappy with the service my tenants were getting from the agents managing my properties. You know, so as I said, it's not rocket science what we're doing. Any agent can go and hire somebody to do their customer engagement. It's going to be considerably more expensive than using our service. And if they want to try and do it themselves, well, personally, I think they should be investing their time on growing their business by getting new instructions and new sales opportunities versus what a service like ours would actually cost them.
Jonathan, thanks very much for taking time out with us today.
Cheers, Simon. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, everybody. Cheerio.